What's going on, guys, man? It's your boy Jay here, and we're back at it again with a different type of video. It's not just a weapon montage this time. I actually want to create more of a discussion. So you didn't like the demo, and that's okay. These games typically don't demo well, Monster Hunter games that is, because there's so many things in these games that are just not in the demo, and it's very hard to demo. So we're gonna go over a couple things that are in, the full games, but are not in the demo, which could lead to your enjoyment later on. So if you're new and you saw these games going up, you saw the hype online, like, yo, what is this Monster Hunter stuff, man? Let me try this out. And then you tried it out and you were like, yo, what is this? I just don't get the hype. The hype about these games is that it's more than just take big stick and go hurt big monster. But the problem with the demo is that's exactly what the demo was. You pick a big stick or gun and you go hurt big monster, right? And you just pick a monster. There's no backstory about why the monster is there. There's no story about what you're doing and why you're doing it. You just pick a monster, go fight, and have fun, right? In the full game, typically there's certain cutscenes or certain monsters that are well highlighted throughout the story of the game, which give you a good reason to be fighting what you're fighting or doing what you're doing. Monster Hunter, right, is very much about the world that these people live in. And monsters are just a part of it. They're like animals here in real life, except they have, fire breathing and thunder, electricity charging, all kinds of crazy stuff going on in their world. So for survival, they gotta fight, man. They gotta get monster hunters to go out into the world and kind of keep a balance between, humanity and monsters that they have to share the planet with, Aside from the story reasons of why to fight monsters, there are plenty of other reasons why you may choose to fight a certain monster or not, and that leads into the litany of customization options that are available to you in this game. So in this demo, you fight whatever monster you choose, right? Either Izuchi or Mizutsune. You defeat them, and then the game closes out and it's like, hey, thanks for playing, do you want to buy it on the eShop, right? Regular demo stuff. However, that process is a little different in the full game. You defeat your monster, right? And in the demo, you may have noticed that there's like 60 seconds, right, of just doing nothing, right? Your monster's just a corpse on the ground, and you're just sitting there, and it says returning from quest in 60 seconds. And that time is for you to carve the monster. Yes. So you will carve pieces off of whatever monster you chose to hunt, and you'll take those pieces and create armor or weapons from the pieces of that monster, right? And the armor and the weapons take on the property of the monster that it came from. So for example, in this video you'll see me fighting a lot of Mizutsune, right? This is a water monster, so any weapons or armor I craft will have properties of water bestowed upon it. So for weapons, if I make a Mizutsune weapon, my weapon will also have water elemental damage attached to it, right? So you'll do water damage, and along with some raw damage, some base damage that is going to happen, whatever. And in the demo, that is not present at all, except for with the guns. But gunning is very, very difficult. So not a lot of people probably selected the gun and got used to navigating the menus to get to the shot types that they were looking for. So yes, your big sticks, your your swords, your lances can do elemental damage, and based on certain monsters, they have a weakness to water damage or thunder damage or dragon damage, right? So if you're some sort of Pokemon master and you really enjoy tight matchups and taking advantage of specific monsters' weaknesses, then this game series may have something for you, and I implore you to dive in and give it another shot. In the full release, that is, right? In the demo, this is not really available to you. None of the melee cutting weapons have any elemental damage, and stuff like the dual blades and the sword and shield, which are more beginner friendly weapons, kind of rely on elemental damage a little bit more than the more advanced, heavier swinging weapons like the great sword or the hammer. Moving on to armor, the intermediate quest in this demo, Mizutsune, right, kinda hits really hard in this demo. Some of these attacks that she's putting out hit like a Mack truck and drain maybe a third or half of your health, especially for those water beam attacks. And the reason why that's important is armor, right? In the game, you craft armor based on the monsters you've defeated before. And let's say in the main game, you fight Mizu and you're like, yo, I'm taking an extremely high amount of damage from every attack. You can, come back and go to the armory and maybe craft something that has some water resistance, so you'll take less damage from those heavy beam attacks, or craft something with more defense so that the quest is easier for you. And in the demo, that's just not a thing at all, right? Like, Mizu does the damage she does and there's nothing you can do about it. But in the main game, there's plenty you can do about it. You can maybe create an armor that has water resistance, like I said. You can maybe change up some of the skills that you have, right? And skills, that's something I haven't even brought up yet. Let's get into it right now. Armor sets typically have skills attached to them, right? And this is another way to further customize your gameplay. So if you did a dodge roll in the demo, right, and you notice that maybe there's some iframes, invincible frames, and you notice, man, that's not a lot of invincible frames, man. These dodges are hard to pull off. What you can do is you can skill in a skill that makes your rolls have more invincible frames, right? You can really customize the way you play the game. For example, like the hammer charge, you see me charging, you see how I have to wait for that third level of charge. Let's say I don't want to wait that long anymore. There's a skill for that. Much like the iPhone in the past, there's an app for that. If there's a part of gameplay that you don't like in these games, there's probably a skill for that. And the game kind of urges you in the direction of, customize yourself in whichever way you want to play through your armor and your weapon choice, So, on to the next topic, difficulty, right? In the demo, you had two quests, beginner and intermediate, right? And in the game, it's kind of like that, but not. And let me explain what I mean. Like, all of the quests are separated into 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and so on. And they get progressively harder, so on and so forth, right? So there are a couple monsters that are like in the same tier, but it's not really marked beginner or intermediate, right? And then there's also multiple ranks, right? So you can fight the same monster 2 different times, but if it's low rank, it'll be slower, the tails will be bigger, it'll be easier to avoid attacks, and it won't do as much damage. And then you move into high rank, right? Which is the same exact monster, the same Mizu or Rathalos or Rathian, but they move a whole lot faster, they do a whole lot more damage, the openings are smaller, right? And you'll gradually move through the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star of low rank, and then you get to high rank where you get to fight all the same monsters again, but they move a bit faster, or maybe some of them have different moves you've never seen before, or they do a bit more damage, right? So the difficulty scaling really gradually ramps up, and it's actually quite friendly to the player. Instead of like beginner, whereas the Izuchi in this demo, super easy, you can knock him out in like 5-10 minutes easy once you get the hang of the mechanics of the game. And then you move on to intermediate in the demo, and Mizu is hitting you harder than a Mack truck, moves around a lot, and has smaller openings for certain attacks. It's just really a big jump, and that could be quite off-putting to someone who's only experienced with Monster Hunter as the demo. Okay, so I just got over how these games don't demo well, and you have to actually play a Monster Hunter game to really get a feel for what this game or Rise is going to be about, right? So if you're still on the fence about Rise, what do you do? Do you just risk the $60 and just throw it down and throw your money at Capcom and be like, okay, I hope I like it? No. At the recording of this video, Monster Hunter Rise comes out in about 3 weeks. Okay. Monster Hunter World on PS4 and Xbox One right now, you can probably pick those up for about $20 right now, maybe even a little over $20. Okay, and if your only console is Switch, there's another Monster Hunter game out on Switch. It's called Generations Ultimate. Okay, now that title's a little older than World, so a lot of the quality of life features that are featured in the demo and featured in World, such as being able to run around after you drink a potion, are not present. But it's still Monster Hunter through and through, right? You still defeat monsters and get a good feel for progression, and you get a good idea of what these Monster Hunter games are about for a low entry cost. Okay, so Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, I actually bought it the other day, so let me tell you how much it cost. Okay, I bought Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate like 2 days ago, and I spent $26.80. Okay, So you know, you can risk maybe half of a $60 title to see if you really truly like these titles before you go all in and spend the $60 on Rise for Switch when it comes out. And there you go, it's the end of the video. Okay, be sure to subscribe and drop a like. And I'm not here to tell you have to like these games, you have to play these games, but the demos really don't do well in explaining and really showing the player what Monster Hunter is all about. So if even one person, you know, maybe goes back and buys an older title and really ends up liking these games and has a great time in Rise, then I'll be a happy man. Anyway, happy hunting. Peace.